Top government officials in China had a meeting this past week to discuss how to tackle a weakening economy and a 5-year plan for their country moving forward. Will China be able to achieve these targets? You wonder, how does a country with over 1 billion people have weak consumer spending? Top government officials in China had a meeting this past week to discuss how to tackle a weakening economy. Now, this was not a public meeting. This wasn't something that was broadcasted or shown to the rest of the world, but details about this meeting from it are starting to come out. So in this video, we're going to discuss China's plan for the next 5 years and beyond, what to do with their economy. So before we get started, let me just say that if you like content like this, leave a comment down below letting me know what you think. Make sure you subscribe for more content like this and hit that thumbs up button for me. Now, China's economy has been on a downwards trend. I made a recent video about this, discussing how a housing crisis within the country and weak consumer spending were just kind of driving things down for them there. But top government officials in China had a meeting this past week to discuss how to tackle a weakening economy and a 5-year plan for their country moving forward. Now, in all honesty, this meeting was going to take place if the economy was doing good or not. This is a meeting that the country has on a regular basis to discuss policy moving forward, and this is going to include the next 5 years, what their plans are in order to push China ahead. Some of the things that China says they want to improve on as a country include technology improvements and deepening tech talent within China, narrowing the rural to urban gap, and boosting military spending. Now, if this all sounds familiar to you and you think that you've heard it before, it is because you probably have. These are all things that China has talked about for years that they want to work on. Technology improvement. Every single country should want to have all the best engineers, the brightest minds within their land and working for them. That is something that every country should strive for. Now this rural to urban gap. China is a huge country, over 1 billion people, 1.4 billion people, but the lifestyle that you see in city centers compared to the rural area is completely different, and they want to bridge that gap a little bit. You wonder, how does a country with over 1 billion people have weak consumer spending? Well, that gap between people in the city centers and the rural areas plays a role into it. A lot of money is centralized within cities, and even then it is even more centralized to an elite group. You have to have a strong middle class if you want to have a strong, robust economy. And China's middle class, while it is there, we have seen that when economic times get tough or financially things start to get a little tighter, they are quicker to pull back on spending than some other places might be. And the country, obviously, they could see this data too, and they want to find ways to improve on it because they want their middle class spending domestically. Now, as far as exports go, China is golden. Recently, it's just record after record how much they are pumping into the rest of the world in their factories, just all type of different goods. But domestic consumption is something that they lack in, and they don't want to just rely fully on exports. They want to figure it out on the inside as well. It has also come out from this meeting that China wants to be a world leader or the world leader in AI and chip development and things of that nature. And the question comes out, will China be able to achieve these targets? Now, I think moving forward, at least for the foreseeable future, we're talking about 5 years, China is going to continue to be a world leader in exports. They are going to continue to provide the world with goods. Now, other countries are stepping up as well. The Philippines, Vietnam has been getting very involved in. Other places are trying to pull from that market as well. But China is going to continue to be a world leader when it comes to exports. They depend on that. But some of those more domestic things, I do not think that they can close that gap between the rural and the urban population. I think you have a rural population that it isn't as advanced as your population in the cities is. And as we continue to get more technologically advanced, in order for people to make good incomes, be these consumers that spend a lot of money, you're going to need some very specific skills to have high demand jobs and in all honesty, the rural population, it's at least there, it just doesn't really have it. And I'm interested in seeing how they go about tackling it. And honestly, you need a rural population. You need people to farm and to live in the countryside and to take care of the countryside. And I honestly think stuff like that is beautiful, and I enjoy being out there. But from an economic standpoint, we're talking about people in the city who are working on technology, working in business, working in construction, on building up these and just different things where a lot of money is made and transacted. You just do not see that on the countryside. And how are you going to bridge between the city and the countryside when that countryside or that rural population just doesn't have the same skill set, and it hasn't really been bridged before while it was an ambition before. So it'll be interesting to see how they do it. And even with the technology as well, you got to think the best engineers in the world, the brightest minds in the world, it is, you have to be competitive in order to get them. Those people can pretty much play on their own terms. They could live where they want to live, work where they want to work. They could receive the compensation that they want to receive. Those people are in high demand. So if you want them within your country working for you, how are you going to entice them to do so? China, for the most part, has been more strict than some other nations. And when you're one of these engineer or these bright, brilliant minds, you can kind of choose where you want to go. And typically they want to play by their own rules. And when people start being strict with them, they will move around and go somewhere else. So it'll be interesting to see. And maybe they do it through schooling and try to organically do it within. It's a lot of different ways that you could do it. And I do think their economy is going to grow over the next 5 years. But in what areas and how, it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. If you like content like this, leave a comment down below letting me know what you think. Make sure you subscribe for more content like this and hit that thumbs up button for me.